Greetings folks, and welcome to another episode of 81632-bit. As usual, I'm your host Rob, and today we're going to be taking a look at a couple of seriously superior sequels to games on the Sega Mega Drive. Now, when I say seriously superior sequels, I really mean sequels that are superior to the original. Now, we've all played video games which are brilliant and thought, wow, this is a really good game. And we've wanted a sequel and it hasn't happened. Well, these are two situations where the sequels did come out and, thankfully, they were far, far superior to the original. So, without further ado, let's jump straight on into the first game. So, here we have Sonic the Hedgehog, possibly the defining game for the Mega Drive, or certainly the defining character anyway. Now, when this released in 1991, this was an incredible game. You hadn't really seen a platform game like this before, certainly not on a Nintendo platform, and even on Sega's own 8-bit system, the Master System, you hadn't had anything quite like this. This was bold, brash, colourful, and, as the title implied, fast. Sonic the Hedgehog was a fast game. Everything about it was fast. And it was amazing. It was a system seller. This game sold the Mega Drive probably more than any other title had. And bear in mind, the Mega Drive was already fairly popular by this point, certainly in the US under its Genesis title, thanks to Electronic Arts sports games. But whilst Sonic itself was a superb game, because it was so popular, much like Nintendo with their mascot Mario, Sega needed a follow-on. And that follow-on would appear in 1992 as Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And here we have Sonic 2. Now, Sonic 2 took the basic premise and setup of the original Sonic the Hedgehog and basically just amplified everything. Straight away you can see the production is much better. The graphics have been improved. They've all been redrawn, the sprites, the background assets, to look better than the first game did, which in places could look a little rough. This is a much more refined take. Now, another improvement also was the music. Now, the music in the original Sonic the Hedgehog was pretty darn good to start with, but the music in Sonic 2 was better, and there were a few gameplay tweaks made. For example, you now had the option to do a spin attack on the ground where you could rev yourself up by holding down and pressing one of the buttons. As you can see, I got a bit stuck here because I'm not the world's greatest video game player, even though I love them. And this sort of spin dash move, as it was called, did help with certain aspects of the game because the levels in Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic 2 have a tendency to be quite vertical as well as horizontal. So you would get a lot more of that verticality in there, and the ability to stand at the bottom of a ramp and just rev yourself up to speed and shoot yourself up that ramp was a major gameplay change. And the addition of Tails, which meant a second player could join you on the quest as well. This was something that wasn't present in the original Sonic the Hedgehog. That was a pure single player experience. And yeah, Sonic 2 was a far, far superior game to the original Sonic, which is saying something given how good the original Sonic the Hedgehog was. But you can see it here on the screen in front of you. It just looks better. It plays better. It just, everything about it is an improvement. And I would argue that this is the peak of the Mega Drive Sonics. Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles just didn't quite have the same feel as this and felt a little less refined, but that's probably something to do with its massively curtailed development cycle and the need to split the game in half to hit its release window. But yeah, Sonic 2, a superb sequel, and it is seriously superior to the original. Now, Sega's 16-bit system was not alone in the market. The Super Nintendo did follow, and one of the big draws for the Super Nintendo was the fact that it had an exclusivity for the arcade smash hit beat 'em up Final Fight. Well, Sega wanted their own Final Fight, and they came up with what you're seeing on screen now, Streets of Rage. Now, at the time, Streets of Rage reviewed really well. Yes, visually it wasn't quite as stunning as Final Fights, which had massive sprites, albeit very few of them on screen. But for a relatively early period Mega Drive game, again, this dates from 1991, this looks pretty good. Yes, there are a few faults in there that you can notice. The animation is a little bit choppy, but everything is colourful. The backgrounds look incredible. The characters look cool. Visually, it's a really good looking game. And in terms of sound, my god, Yuzo Koshiro's soundtrack for this and the sequel are legendary. This is an incredible sounding game. When people tell you that the Mega Drive had rubbish sound and the SNES sounded far superior, just play them Streets of Rage and Streets of Rage 2. They'll understand. Now, this was, as I said, a fun game to play. There were a few interesting quirks to it. Obviously, you've got your standard beat 'em up stuff here, and the special move that was included involved a police car being brought in to launch a rocket which rained down and somehow only killed the bad guys and not you. Don't ask, it's weird. But, you know, this game was a sizable critical and commercial hit, and that's the key. You know, this was a really good game, and people will be wondering, how can you improve on this? Well, Sega did improve on it, as you're about to see in a moment. And when you're talking about superior sequels, which are a significant upgrade over the original, the jump from this, which is already quite impressive, to what comes next is frankly incredible. It's just an absolute wow. So let's move on to Streets of Rage 2. And here we are, Streets of Rage 2. Immediately you can see the upgrade. The graphics are a quantum leap ahead. The sprites are bigger, they're better animated. Everything just looks better. This was as close pretty much as you could get to an arcade game on the Mega Drive. It's just everything about it is superb and such a huge upgrade from the original. As I said, you can see it. The sprite work is just outstanding here. This is a definitive look. When people talk about the Streets of Rage games for the Mega Drive, this is what comes to mind. Not the original, but this. This look is superb. And they do a few things that the original didn't do here. You know, they massively increased your move set from the basic punches and kicks. You have a number of different special moves available now. None of this magic police car stuff. Each character has them. They take some of your energy away, which is taken from the arcades, but there's also a special move which you can do that doesn't take any energy away. You can grab enemies, you can jump over them, you can even throw them into each other. And it's just a superb game. And I've not even mentioned the music yet. My god, the music. Now, I'm a heavy metal dude. I don't do dance music, but without any hesitation, I will tell you right now, this is the greatest video game soundtrack of all time, in my opinion. Yuzo Koshiro absolutely knocked it out of the park with the soundtrack to Streets of Rage 2. It's the most perfect symbiosis of sound and visuals you will ever get. The music is perfectly set for each stage. It just works. This is without a doubt the best game on the Mega Drive as far as I'm concerned, and absolutely the best sequel. Superior sequels? Oh hell yes. If you have never played the Streets of Rage games, you need to go and play them now, because seriously, this game is an absolute god tier title. So there you go. There's my ramblings about 2 seriously superior sequels on the Sega Mega Drive. Now, let me know what you think about those 2 games in the comments down below, and if you have any suggestions for any other titles you think are seriously superior sequels, list them down below. It can be for any format. It doesn't have to be for the Mega Drive. It can be for the Super Nintendo, the NES, the Master System, the PlayStation, the Saturn. Anything you want that's retro. Don't want people saying, hey, what about blah, blah, blah on the PlayStation 5? No. If you can think of a game on a retro system where the sequel was a massive upgrade over the original, let me know, because I would like to do a follow-up video to this. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video today, please, please, please do hit the like button. Any engagement helps. It helps get this video to spread further and further across YouTube's algorithm. If you've really enjoyed it, there's a subscribe button down there. You can hit that. You can also ring the bell next to it to be notified when I do an upload. If you've really enjoyed the video and you want to say thank you, you'll find links down below for Patreon membership, YouTube membership, or even just to make a one-off donation through coffee.com. Coffee.com, yeah. I do want to big up my current paid supporters, Old Scott Retro and Leftback. You guys are awesome. Much love to you guys. But anyway, I've been Rob. This has been 81632-bit. And that's been some seriously superior sequels. I will see you on the next one.